So today I want to talk about a subject that I've been meaning to make a video on for quite a while, and that is light, frequency, chakra wheels, and the Temple of Solomon. And essentially, it's a cult system of self-knowledge for better understanding ourselves, better understanding natural law, better understanding nature, and being more in touch with our hearts and our minds and the bridge between those two. So it's something that I've been really interested in lately. So I have some slides that I've made here and my notes. So I'm going to do this presentation. And I'm going to start with one of my favorite quotes, which is from Nikola Tesla. And he said, if you want to know the secrets of the universe, think in terms of energy, frequency, and vibration. Okay? If you want to know the secrets of the universe, think in terms of energy, frequency, and vibration. And lately I've been really kind of obsessed with these three aspects: energy, frequency, and vibration, how they relate to each other, and how they also fit in with the occult system of self-knowledge. So, to me, frequency has to do with light. When you look at the electromagnetic spectrum and you look at visible light, it takes up just a very small portion of that spectrum, and it's made up of frequencies, wavelengths. And when I think of energy, I think in terms of the occult system of self-knowledge, I think of chakra. I think of the chakra wheels, the chakra points that are along the spine of the body. So if we look at light in the form of frequency, visible light, like I said, makes up a very, very small fraction of the electromagnetic spectrum. And our eyes are only able to perceive this very narrow window of frequencies. So what I find really cool is how this spectrum looks when we break it down. And when we take white light, we pass it through a prism so that it comes out into its individual color wavelengths. This is how it would look like. The lowest frequencies, lowest wavelengths of light, in other words, are reds. And red is at the very bottom of the visible spectrum of light. And then moving up, we go into the oranges, the yellows, the greens, the blues, indigos, and violet. And the frequencies below the red, they're not detectable with our human eyes because the wavelengths are too long. Or you could say the frequencies are too low. And we call this area of the electromagnetic spectrum infrared, which means below red. Infra meaning below, and then red, infrared. So, and then on the other side of the spectrum, so the wavelengths that are too high, the highest frequencies are ultraviolet. And we call that ultraviolet because ultra means above and then violet. So it's above the frequency of the color violet. So it really makes sense when you think about it. Infrared, below red, ultraviolet, beyond violet. So this narrow frequency band between red and violet is called the visible spectrum of light. And directly in the middle of these frequencies, we arrive at the green frequencies. And if you drew a line directly in the middle, you would be at the most mid-green possible. And it would be like a deep mid-green. And that central point, that focal midpoint, is the center of the visible spectrum of light. And another way of calling it is the center of light. You could say that green is the center of light. If you study deep enough, you'll notice that in many mystery traditions, green has been used to represent the center of ourselves as well. It's the center of light, and it's also the center of ourselves. So if we look at the Vedic chakra system, also known as the energy wheels, this was a tradition that was taught out of the Indus Valley, and it was called the Vedas. And this simply means knowledge, wisdom. It's knowledge in action. And the frequencies of the spectrum of light are depicted in this system of energy wheels known as chakras, which operate along centers of glandular activity within the body. And they go along the middle, the spinal column, which is also known as the tree of life, or the spinal cord, but along the spine directly in the middle. So we have these 7 energy centers, and we have the base, which is the root chakra, and it's colored red. It's at the very bottom, and then next going up is the sacral chakra, which is colored orange at the area of the genitalia. And then we have the solar plexus, which is the stomach area, sort of where your abs would be, and that's colored yellow. And then, of course, you have the heart, which is the center, and the red, orange, and yellow are the 3 lower ones. They're the chakra centers of the lower frequencies. And then the 3 energy centers above the heart, blue, indigo, and violet, are the higher frequencies. So, but these 3 lower ones, they represent base instincts and desire. They represent sexual energy, and they represent the will to begin any venture, and lastly to go through with it and have the guts to finish. And the guts would be the solar plexus, which is the highest of the 3 lower chakras. So above the heart chakra is the throat chakra, which is colored blue, and it is the speech center, and it's also the starting point for going into the higher chakra centers. And these higher chakra centers are within the realm of compassion. So next above the throat chakra is the brow chakra, associated with knowledge and understanding. It's where the third eye is, and it's colored indigo or purple. And then above that you have the crown chakra, which is violet, and it represents unity consciousness, non-duality. It's total union, cosmic consciousness, and it's what people talk about when Buddha reached his state of supreme. Now, going back to the heart chakra, so it is the central focal point. It is the middle of all of these energy centers. And, as we started in the lower frequencies, red, orange, yellow, the higher frequencies were blue, indigo, and violet. But at the very middle, it's colored green. And this is a system of knowledge that we're looking at. These colors represent aspects of ourselves. So the heart is placed at the center because it's at the center of the physical body, right? And it's in the middle of the torso. And the heart, and this is really important, the heart is the prime generator of our experience. What we care about ultimately is what will manifest itself. What your heart cares about is what you will put your time and your attention on. So if we don't have true care, we aren't going to manifest anything that is good for us. We're not going to manifest order, love, or anything that we really want. We're going to get something vastly different from what we truly want, actually. And in that process, we're going to generate a lot of self-inflicted suffering. If we truly don't develop that center of self, the heart. So this next image is the best one that I could find to depict the chakra locations and their associated color frequencies. And the Anahata chakra, or heart chakra, is the center of the self. It's the balance, the part that balances. Sure, yeah, the all-seeing eye is the symbol of centeredness and awakening, but that doesn't really come online until we've made a connection with true care with the heart. So looking at the symbol for Anahata, you can see a 6-petal star, which is also regarded as a lotus flower. In many traditions, the heart has a lotus flower associated with it. So this 6-petaled star forms the heart chakra, and this is an ancient symbol known as the Seal of Solomon. And what it is it's the chalice and blade united. Okay, so it's the sacred masculine and sacred feminine blended together. Um, you have the feminine chalice being the inverted equilateral triangle, and then you have the upward pointed pyramidal shaped masculine blade. And the chalice and blade united form the seal of Solomon. So this is some extremely powerful symbolism, and understanding the esoteric side is even more significant because ultimately this symbolizes, like I said, the lotus flower in the Vedic tradition. And this is where true balance is ultimately born. Of course, balance has to be created in the brain, but if it doesn't have a connection with the heart chakra, it will all be for nothing. And this is, to me, what humanity's goal is right now, is to awaken the center of self within them. So, green is the center of the self, but it is also the center in nature. It's the balancing color in nature. You know, green is abundantly present in nature. It's everywhere when you get outside. When you get out of man-made cities and buildings, green is the color you will see most frequently when you are on land in the nature. And it's the color of abundance that is balanced and that will provide for us. And taking this to a health-oriented perspective, the best foods to eat are green. Uh, Dark green leafy vegetables have all the nutrients and minerals that our bodies need for building healthy, strong cells that compose us. And green foods help our bodies easily heal and replenish ourselves. So, people are starting to catch on to the power of green juicing. And, this is when you're getting all the green micronutrients found in the plant kingdom in liquid form, and which is easiest to digest through the distilled liquid that is found in the plant system. When the water is coming up through the earth and it's going into the plant root system and being distilled through that process. So when you juice that, it is readily absorbed into the body, and it gives your body more energy and a greater capacity to heal itself and rejuvenate every cell and organ in your body. Right down to the bone marrow, your hair and your nails, everything. So green is the power of nature. It represents the color of balance. And whenever nature is in balance, you're going to see a lot of green. Whenever it isn't balanced, whenever we've poisoned and thrown it out of balance, you're not going to see much green. And what we have to realize is that green represents the actual spirit of the earth, the living energetic system in which we are a part and we cannot really be separated from. So we are a part of the whole earth system, and we are the cells of the earth, just as our bodies have cells that compose who we are. And in the same fashion, we are the cells that make up the earth. So we should aim to provide the best nourishment for ourselves, just as the earth wants to provide us, its cells, with the best nourishment. So, fruits and vegetables. The earth provides freely a seemingly endless and beautifully diverse array of juicy fruits and tender, tasty vegetables. Energy coming in from the sun gets converted through the process of photosynthesis into the energy that is best suited to nourish our bodies. And when we do that, we are in a greater form of balance. I eat so much fruit here and vegetables, and honestly, I've never felt um, so close to like who I think I really am, my true self, my true balanced version. And people, they get sidetracked and they get duped and conned into thinking that um, fruit will make you fat, or fruit is not like food to eat for a meal. It's just like a little snack or a dessert. And it's like fruit is the primary fuel for humanity to free our minds and to set us on the path of becoming true best selves. It's really the starting building block for um, beginning the path to realizing your highest, truest, best self. In my opinion, I really believe that. So now going back to this green color and how it's used in consciousness. So when we look at the manifestations of consciousness, when I say consciousness, I'm talking about thought, emotion, and action. So on this slide, you can see I have thoughts, emotions, actions. These are the three aspects of consciousness. And you'll notice in the mystery traditions, three is a very significant number. It's a very sacred number for many reasons. And when you think of consciousness, there are three components as well. So, um, we have um, physiological expressions in the body through our brain. We know, of course, the left brain is the masculine side, solar, and is associated with the symbol of the blade, the pyramid. But also the red lower frequencies are associated with that side of the brain. Because the red frequencies are all about physical world identification. They encompass paying attention, concentration, alertness, being on guard, which is associated with waking consciousness. So the lower red frequencies, red, orange, and yellow, have always been associated with the left brain. Now, the right brain characteristics are always associated with the blue, higher frequencies. The color blue is associated with feminine right brain modalities, with creative imagination and, creative thought in that side of the brain. So, now just a reminder, um, I'm not talking about pigments of light here. We're talking about color frequencies. So, the reason blue is assigned to the right side of the brain is because that is the more open to receiving part of the mind. Just as feminine energy is more open to receiving, like if you think of a romantic love exchange, um, the feminine energy always takes in. Um, the right brain takes in everything in the same way. It doesn't filter it as the left brain does. And it is open and absorptive, and it is also passive in a way that it receives everything. So, on the contrary, the left brain outputs everything through a filtration system known as logic. So, now the right brain is highly important when you're taking in sensory information because it has this critical gathering ability. So, when we are taking in any information, we must have the right feminine brain active, functioning properly and open to all possibilities. And when it's operating properly, that is how information will pass holistically into the left brain filter so that all angles can be seen and then all bits can be broken down analytically by the left brain before the information is fully understood. So this receptive quality has always been associated with the color blue. And blue represents taking in or like an open-mindedness. And on my YouTube channel, I purposely have a picture of blue and green because I want people to, when they come to my channel, to subconsciously be more open and be more balanced when they see the information that's there. Um, keep an open mind. And uh, this way people are at least willing to entertain the ideas and the concepts, and hopefully a seed will be planted in their mind. Um, so I understand that the information that I talk about usually is seen as like crazy talk, like put on your tinfoil hat, you nutter. But people's first reaction is usually, like this stuff's crazy. But um, I understand that people have been programmed to look away from all of this information that I'm talking about. That's why it's a cult, because it's hidden and people have been programmed to view it as not important or to just not even consider it. So, yeah, by looking at this information though, people are going to experience cognitive dissonance. They're going to feel uncomfortable in their mind because it's going to be challenging a lot of what they're taught, and it's going to also seem irrelevant and it's just going to appear like information that has no uh, merit or has really no value in helping us solve all of the problems that we're currently facing in the world. But anyways, blue is an excellent color to employ because it is saying to the brain, open, take this, hear what I have to say, and I use this not because I want people to immediately believe what I'm saying, but because I just want people to hear it with an open mind. You should never naively just accept what someone says, but you should listen with an open mind. So it's all about getting people to be open enough to take the information in without prejudging it first, and then passing it over to the left analytical brain, but the feminine right side of the brain, associated with the color blue and with the lunar principle, the moon, is very important because if that isn't active, then the information won't come in at all in the first place. So, it's blending them together. It's using both brain hemispheres holistically, not having one be dominant over the other. When you blend them, this represents the union of these light frequencies. Um, in other words, it's the joining of the left and right, the marriage of the masculine and the feminine, the alchemical wedding, as it has been called. And it is uniting to form a holistically balanced brain, which is real intelligence, okay? It's not these, people think scientists are so smart because they're intellectual, but they have no intelligence. They're just all left brain. It's like, who cares? You can repeat lots of information, big deal. Can you see the big picture? Can you blend it holistically? It's not just about intellect. It's also about intuition, which is the right brain. And it's about merging these two in a balanced form. You know, this actually picture should be green. It should be the green seal of Solomon. So the red and the blue come together and they meet in the middle. So that's all I have for this video. It's pretty long, but I hope you guys enjoyed this and learned some new things. Take care, and we'll see you next time.